2024 was a bad year for gaming. Oh, sorry, say it again, Santa. Okay, leave it to me. Sorry, just had some clarification there, so we'll just have to restart this video. Can we go out to the top? 2024 was a not bad year for gaming. Yeah, I can agree with that. I think it was a generic gaming site 7 out of 10. 2023 was always going to be a hard year to beat, but 2024 certainly put up an admirable fight. So let's take a look back at it all. The highs, the lows, the Concords, all of it. Starting with January. The year kicks off to an exciting start when 13-year-old Willis Gibson becomes the first in the world to complete Tetris. And by complete, I mean he achieves a score so high it causes the game to crash. Which I can't help but feel is like saying the Titanic was a success by completing itself right into that iceberg. Star of Succession Brian Cox fronts a video recapping the entire history of Tekken in anticipation for Tekken 8's release, and the Logan Roy actor shows us exactly why he's one of the greatest thespians of our generation by keeping a straight face through this shit.
Since Jin is the only other person who possesses the devil gene as well.
And yes, just to warn Brian's family now, I will be playing this on repeat outside his funeral, so don't get the police involved because it's happening. Palworld is released near the end of the month, combining the wholesome world of Pokemon with the wholesome world of gun violence to create a game that took the world by storm for exactly 6 seconds. I'm surprised the opening of the game isn't choosing one of 3 starter pals and then having to dispose of the other 2 with an AK-47. You know, like Sophie's Choice for the Roblox generation. The Prince of Persia series is revived with a beautiful, slick Metroidvania that releases to rave reviews. So of course, Ubisoft disbands the team. Thanks for that. February. Almost a decade after finishing the Arkham trilogy, Rocksteady returned to the DC universe with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and it's received about as well as Bruce Wayne's parents received those bullets. Look, I love Rocksteady dearly, and there's a lot of work here that proves that they are still one of the best developers in the business. The facial animation is maybe the most realistic I've ever seen in a video game. Some of the writing got genuine laughs from me, and honestly, it is a big, bold swing of a story. Like, I can't say I was not intrigued by the idea of killing the Justice League. Just a shame that Aquaman isn't here though, because I really did want a Rocksteady level set piece of flushing him down the toilet. But what we ultimately got from Suicide Squad was an experience created by a team whose language of making games isn't multiplayer looter shooters. It'd be like reincarnating Shakespeare as an air fryer and asking him to dictate a new classic by which of your potato alphabet letters he burns. Ultimately, it just feels like a talented team put on the wrong project. Not helped by the fact that the game launches with a bug that causes some players to start the game at the story's end, which turns out to actually be a special case of amnesia in which the brain has to protect itself from such repetitive boredom that it deletes any memory that players have of the game. Wow, the human brain is a beautiful thing. Surprise multiplayer hit of the year, Helldivers 2 is released to all-round praise, but then a cheeky patch is released that forces PC players to log into the PlayStation Network to play the game. This is the most angry someone's been about logging into an account since my dad forgot his password to his Etsy account that sells erotic Sonic the Hedgehog fan art. No, Dad, piss off, you're not on this channel, I told you. Within 3 days of mourning, Helldivers 2 players forced Sony to release an apology and announce that they're abandoning their plans for PSN sign-in on PC. 3 days? Get the Helldivers community onto the Middle East next. We'll have that sorted by January if those boys are on it. All hell breaks loose as Microsoft announced that some Xbox exclusives are headed to the PS5 and the Switch. Guys, please put it into perspective. Is there a PlayStation toaster? No. So, who's the real winner, really? While you're here, my overlords have asked that you consider subscribing to the FGS channel. Go on, it's Christmas. Don't make me beg, please, not dressed like this. March. Princess Peach Showtime marks the Pastel Princess's first time taking centre stage in the Mario Brothers universe in 18 years? They gave the mushroom and the dinosaur like 2 games each, and Her Highness has had nothing. Unbelievable. It's announced in March that Margot Robbie's production company are set to produce a film based on The Sims. Word has it that the film will be a murder mystery, focusing on why so many residents of Simsville keep dying in the swimming pool. Sony stopped PlayStation VR 2 production to clear the backlog of unsold headsets, indicating sales so weak that Jake Paul is set to fight them next year. In March, FGS brought the Future Game Show Spring Showcase to you. Lots of you tuned in, so thank you very much for that. And myself and Jules even popped up to host the expansion pack afterwards. Knows why I had to wave like this though. Genuinely a low point of my year. April. The Fallout TV show is released and delights fans of the post-apocalyptic RPG, tempting players back to Fallout 4 and the actually quite good now Fallout 76. Hideo Kojima wastes no time in getting a video call with star Ella Purnell and letting the internet know all about it. Not long after this though, he posts about his love for Wallace and Gromit, making me think that this video call is going to happen soon.
Cracking cheese, Kojima.
A Knuckles TV show is also released, but with no sign of Kojima having a video call with its main star. The Echidna community are listening, Kojima, and let me tell you, the silence is deafening. May. To kick May off, Kent police released this e-fit of a suspect that they're on the hunt for. Sources say he may be hiding out on the Wii Sports Resort.
Nice birdie!
Indie hit Animal Well releases in May to critical acclaim. PC Gamer call it a sleep-destroying puzzle Metroidvania of baffling depth. So much depth, in fact, a dedicated website is made called Has Everything Been Found in Animal Well Yet? And as you can see, the website says no. It also doubles as a very handy should I play another round of Balatro rather than sorting my life out decision maker. You don't own me, fucking website. Who even listens to websites anymore? What is this, 2001? Lorelei and the Laser Eyes drops in May, a stone cold 10 out of 10 detective game that is more confusing than the idea of Sony releasing a Lego Horizon game. I mean, what were they thinking? I'm not lying when I say I woke up in the middle of the night with an idea of how to solve a potential puzzle, and I immediately just had to get out of bed at 3 AM to try it out. And I'm sorry, but if that's not a recommendation, I don't know what is. June. The DLC for 2022 smash hit Elden Ring is released. At 2 years to develop, From Software decided it was only fair that it takes you about 2 years to access, as you have to get far enough into the story to beat one of the main bosses and then also defeat one of the hardest optional bosses too before you can even step foot into the DLC. But come on, this is From Software. What did you expect? These are the guys who see a pause button as a sign of weakness. Just count yourself lucky that you don't have to play this DLC with a dance mat or something. June also saw the release of Still Wakes the Deep, a pulse-pounding horror set in Scotland that sees you fighting for your life against bloodthirsty creatures prepared to rip you limb from limb. Or, as it's known up here, a Friday night. Also, fun fact, the pub that the main character was arrested in is just down the road from me. Hey, look at that, there I am outside of it. Hey! I can't say I have played many games in locations that my dogs have also shat outside of. July. A man is arrested in England for brandishing a teeny tiny master sword in front of police. Thankfully, he wasn't at full health at the time, so was not able to use his sword beams. Angerfoot released in July, a game all about kicking things that's so addictive, it ironically caused my wife to kick me out of the family home. Please, Sandra, I just want to see the kids. Not much else happened in July, so I'd like to take a moment to talk about job losses. 2024 was a pretty grim year for people who make video games, with around 14,000 jobs lost. It's clear that the process of making games is going through a turbulent evolution. And while certain companies think it's a great idea to make Lego Skull and Bones or something, it's the people on the ground who actually make these games that ultimately pay the price and have their livelihoods put in danger. There's not a lot someone like me can say that has any real impact, but what I do want to say and think is important to say is that if you work in the video game industry and you lost your job this year, I just want to say that all of us at FGS are thinking about you. We thank you for what you do, and we can't wait to see what you make next. Hopefully 2025 is a better year. August. The Borderlands movie is released and achieves the frankly incredible feat of being potentially the worst video game movie ever made. It also cements the fact that Jack Black must legally appear in every video game movie. No sign of him in the Silent Hill 2 movie yet, so we can only assume he's playing Pyramid Head. After having overproduced most of its own franchises, Ubisoft instead turns to the most overproduced film franchise for inspiration with Star Wars Outlaws, which releases to a collective sigh. Which is a shame because what's here is actually a very loving, very playable recreation of the Star Wars universe. Strangely, I don't even think its unpopularity was down to Star Wars fatigue because Jedi Survivor, which came out last year, sold well, so who knows what Star Wars fans want anymore. More gingers and garden management minigames, it seems. GameStop shuts down the long-running gaming magazine Game Informer. It was a hard thing to explain to the younger generation, mainly what a magazine is. Well, see those TikTokers that you follow who tell you all the gaming news? Well, it was like those, but written down and with much less racism. Influencers and streamers given access to Black Myth Wukong are asked that their coverage not include references to feminist propaganda. What even is feminist propaganda? Like, are they going to come after you if they find out that you gave the Barbie movie more than 2 stars on your Letterboxd? Steam reviews now show if a game was played on the Steam Deck, indicating to all other players in the world that you experienced the heartbreaking finale of The Last of Us Part 1 while taking a shit. Concord, a brand new hero shooter exclusive to PlayStation and PC, is released, and while critics say it's, actually not too bad, it sadly doesn't resonate with players. So much so, in fact, that after 2 weeks, Sony pulled the game offline, offering refunds to anyone who purchased it physically or digitally, and at a reported budget of $400 million, roughly $28,571,428.57 per day it was live, is potentially the greatest entertainment failure of all time. Honestly, when we said you should make something like Fortnite, we meant the game, not the period of time. Fucking hell. So, with limited time left, Trophy Hunter saw Concord's Platinum as the ultimate achievement, grinding harder than Tony Hawk to unlock it before the game is pulled offline. It's discovered that one of the fastest ways to gain XP is to start a rivalry match and then for everyone in your team to immediately jump into the sea and collectively end their lives. And in terms of visual metaphors for this whole Concord saga, you really could not do better. Best of all though, Sony were so sure of Concord's success that it's set to have a starring role in Amazon Prime's Secret Level, a new anthology series where each episode is dedicated to a different game. And let me tell you something, you better tune in, because I hear if not enough people are watching, it's getting pulled after 20 minutes, and Sony are just going to replace it with footage of a Bloodborne remaster with a gun to its head. September. Astro Bot returns in a beautifully inventive game that feels like a return to form for platformers on Sony hardware. Instead of being able to count the individual grey strands in Kratos' pubes, it feels like you're being shown how powerful the PlayStation 5 is through actual adventure and interaction. And on top of all of that, you get to spend the majority of the game rescuing famous PlayStation characters like the Ape Escape apes, the Killzone crowd, that thing from Rez, that guy from that game I never got around to playing. Who is this? Who? Surely he's not. Has he been left in by accident? Sorry, can I see your ID, pal? Have you snuck in here from Xbox? Because I have no idea who you are. The Plucky Squire is also released in September, a visually stunning game about the titular Plucky Squire who jumps in and out of different books. He was sadly cancelled later in the year though, as he was found to be jumping into a copy of Mein Kampf. Fake vintage consoles and games worth almost 50 million euros are seized in Italy. No, I'm not really after MDMA, mate. I was wondering if maybe you had N64. Got any of that? The PlayStation 5 Pro is announced by Mark Cerny, a man who looks like a perfect cross between Ellen DeGeneres and Hannibal Lecter, offering people who pay the $700 price tag the ability to upscale the distant scenery in their video games, benefiting only those who believe the Zodiac Killer might just be hiding in the background of Ratchet & Clank. A new trailer for the Minecraft movie is released, delighting children and angering man-children worldwide. The film cements the fact that Jack Black must legally appear in every video game adaptation. No sign of him in The Last of Us Season 2 yet, so we can only assume he's playing the golf club. Princess Zelda finally takes the lead in her titular game series with Echoes of Wisdom. Fans immediately worry about the game's placement in the Zelda timeline, but Nintendo put our minds at ease by confirming that it comes after Link's crossbow training, but before Link's crossbow training, and round about the same time as Link's crossbow training. So hopefully that clears things up. October. The Silent Hill 2 remake is released in October and makes purists like myself very, very angry because it turns out to be very, very good. How can I be condescendingly aloof about this remake when I actually enjoyed it? Me, this was like my whole personality. Yep, hard to complain when it's a respectful adaptation that feels like a fitting companion piece to the original. It even respects the original game's final boss by also being an underwhelming letdown. It's announced that Super Nintendo World will open in Orlando in May 2025. I actually went out in September this year to the Super Nintendo World in LA and offended Toad while I was there. Look, I know you're not allowed to touch his head, but I paid a lot of money to get into that park, so I'll be touching that little f***er's head as many times as I want. Fan-made mod Fallout London tops 1 million downloads, although some fans are outraged that it strays from the Bethesda model by being playable at launch. The Oregon Trail is to be adapted into an action comedy film produced by Apple. It's got a tough job ahead of itself, having to find a beautiful emotional climax in someone diarrheaing themselves to death. I bought a Meta Quest 3S specifically to play Batman Arkham Shadow. Am I rich? No. Do I have one less kidney now? That is none of your business. But what I will say is that being able to play this game is absolutely worth the purchase. Everyone in the FGS office is making fun of me. They keep saying that I won't shut up about it, right? Which is a very brave thing to do to a man who's been spending a large portion of his time in a Batman training simulator. Batman Arkham Shadow is a triumph of an experience that raises the bar for what VR is capable of. The freeflow combat has been adapted perfectly into the most kinetic, addictive mechanic. Also, it's great exercise if you're into that sort of weird stuff. Ugh. This game delivers on the power fantasy that I have dreamed of for years. Being able to get up close and personal and tickle that little moustache on Commissioner Gordon's face. Come here. Go. Oh, it's so soft. Like a little gerbil. Oh, shh. Hey, don't worry. Shh. Batman's here now. I'm here. It's okay. If you like Batman, if you like VR, if you've been able to scalp enough of those 30th anniversary PlayStation controllers, then definitely treat yourself to this. November. Jeff Keighley is remade in the Unreal Engine to help promote the Game Awards, cementing himself as the most boring video game character of all time. So dull, in fact, that he's rumoured to be the next DLC character for Suicide Squad. A Mass Effect TV show is revealed to be in development at Amazon. Here's hoping every viewer has the unique opportunity to physically customise the lead actor's face before they start watching the series. That's the only way I could find myself enjoying it. Ubisoft's Splinter Cell movie is cancelled and disappears from New Regency's slate. Has it though? That's what he does. That is his job. Check the shadows. What do I pay you guys for? Half-Life 2 is made free to download for the game's 20th birthday and reaches a new record of over 60,000 concurrent players. I tell you, they really should think about making a sequel to that game. Don't you think? The 42nd Golden Joystick Awards take place in November, and players vote Black Myth Wukong as Ultimate Game of the Year. I was lucky enough to be there with the Future Game Show, and I had one main objective: get Akira Yamaoka to sign my Silent Hill 2 instruction book. December. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is released and surprises everyone as a last-minute Game of the Year contender. What a success for Xbox this will be when it releases for PlayStation next year. Rocksteady announced that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League will receive its final update in January of 2025, bringing the team's battle with Brainiac to an end. Although some players feel like the DLC has had less and less effort put into it as the months go on. But anyway, forget about that. Here's an exclusive peek at the game's finale.
I have to go now. My planet needs me.
And finally, the Game Awards rounded the year off. Astro Bot was rightly crowned as Game of the Year. Arkham Shadow won Best VR Game. Yes, thank you, I agree. Probably the biggest news of the night was that The Witcher 4 was announced, although the footage they showed had a note saying that it was running on an unannounced Nvidia GPU, so we probably won't be playing this until the 4th Trump presidency, at least. Best of all though, Harrison Ford turned up to present the award for Best Performance. Harrison, wave at the new Captain America, shite. Yeah, I thought so. Cheers, man. Thanks for the heads up.
And now.
And that's pretty much it for 2024. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you followed FGS throughout the year. It genuinely means the world to us that you would spend some of your precious few hours on this earth watching us talk shit. Have a great Christmas, a happy new year, and oh my god, I forgot about the FGS GTA 6 exclusive. Oh my god, how could I forget? What's going to happen is Trailer 2 will be released on